had enough seniority to do that. So that's not for me. So I went to what was at that time called National Oats. I started, and they hired me right there on the spot with a couple of my friends who went with me, and we started washing windows. And I stayed there for 39 and a half years, but I was not a window washer the whole time. I made my way up. I was in the mill for about a year. We made cereal, and I was in the mill for about a year, and then I got into the trades. I started out as a journeyman painter for 9 years. I decorated offices, both on the job and off the job. I did it part-time at home too, but in machinery, I painted machinery and all this kind of stuff. I did that for 9 years, and then I had a chance to become an electrician. So I became an apprentice, an electrician apprentice, and I did that for about 3 years. And by that time, digital electronics was coming in, and this old boy was getting old. That was going to take me by surprise, and it did. So then I really wanted to be a millwright, which is a welder, building stuff. Well, I got lucky. My 3rd year into the electrical apprentice program, a job came up to be a millwright apprentice, so I switched. And I spent 4 years as an apprentice millwright, learning how I became a certified welder. And it pretty much was on my own. There was about 33 of us millwrights in that place, and we built everything. We didn't buy anything, we made it. And then in 1996, 1993, we had floods, and I decided that I was working 7 days a week. I just never took a day off, and I did that for 39 years practically, which I'm not such a good deal. I'm ashamed of that now. But anyway, in '93 we had the floods, and I decided I'm going to cut back on my hours. I'm not working weekends anymore if I don't have to. Well, lived through that summer, got the floods out of the way and all this kind of stuff. 1994, February 1994, another disaster. Could have been a real bad disaster, but I think God was on my side. I was going to work in February. We had a snowstorm the night before. The snow had quit, but it was about 8 inches deep. Couldn't see the road, couldn't see the river, couldn't see anything. Everything was white. 5:30 in the morning, I drove my pickup truck over a 30-foot wall, rolled it 2.5 times. I'm inside of it, and crashed through the ice in the river and went to the bottom. I had a full set of Carhartts on, and I was soaking wet. But you know, I got out. I got out of that cab of that truck, and I was going to swim across the river, but I was going the wrong direction. Somebody told me to turn around. So I turned around, and I could see where the truck was at, because they talk about die-hard batteries with the lights staying on. Mine stayed on, underwater. So I stood on the bottom, the truck was upside down, and I stood on the oil pan to get some air. I was running out of air fast, and the water was right here. So I had just enough to get air, but then I didn't know what I was going to do next, because the wall was 8 feet, or the bank was 8 feet away, and it was 12 foot of water. I was loaded down with water I was froze. My clothes, my Carhartts were soaked. But anyway, I said, well, then after I said, well, there's only one way to do that, and that's jump in and see if I can make it to the bank, which I did. I made it to the bank. But then I didn't know what to do because it's 30 feet up, straight wall, covered with ice. And I'm looking at that wall. I thought, well, what am I going to do? Next thing I know, I'm on the road. I'm up on the road, frozen. I'm colder than cold. My body temperature in about the next 5 minutes was about 95 degrees, 94. But anyway, I thought that I was at my neighbor's cattle shed. He had an office in there, and he always said, if you need to have something happen, get into my office, and the key is underneath this panel on this cattle thing, because he had a wood burner in there, and he kept going here all winter long. Well, I went to that light, and it was not the light. It was the Knights of Columbus Park with an all-night light shining. And I'm still a mile from town. So I thought, well, I turned around. Somebody told me to turn around again. God's still talking to me. I'm not realizing it. God's the one that put me up on that road, lifted me up. I'm still not realizing that. I turned around, and I'm at Arnie Andreessen's, our wonderful tax collector. I went to Arnie Andreessen. I banged on his door, and I said, Arnie, this is Barry. I've been in the river, and I'm freezing to death. And boy, he came to have a split-floor house, so he went down. Then he grabbed me, threw me on the floor, and he started getting my clothes off. And Joan was making coffee, and they called the ambulance. The funny part of the whole thing was, she called Wilma. I was about 2 miles from home, and she called Wilma, told her what happened, but before she told her what happened, Wilma saw Joan Andreessen's name come up on the phone register, and she said, oh, the piano, she's called me to tell me the piano tuner's coming today, because when she gives piano lessons, and when she had her piano tuned, he'd come up the road in 2 hours also. Well, it wasn't that. So anyway, her and my son came and got some dry clothes on me. The ambulance came, and then they were worried about pneumonia. And so I went to the hospital, and they checked me out all right. Well, I got through that. And then I'm trying to figure out what happened next. It just, oh, I know. I got through that, and things were going along. I suffered from depression really bad. I still do to this day. PTSD is in there somewhere. I've been diagnosed with that. I take medicine for everything. But anyway, it was about 2002. Everything was going along fine. Well, our children were born in the 70s, and they were all in high school, out of high school, or in college, one or the other. So anyway, in fact, the only one that was home when the river experience happened in '94 was our youngest one was a senior in high school. No. I don't remember now. I forgot. But he was the only one home. But anyway, just 2002, I started having some problems with my back. And not so much pain, but weird feelings, just strange feelings. I felt like there was air bubbles rising up through my backbone. And I'd been going to the doctor since, and I don't know how old I was, don't remember, 55, 56, somewhere in there. And I'd been going for 5 years, twice a year, to have my prostate checked and the blood draw and all this stuff. Well, in 2002, I had this done because I made an appointment to go in extra because I had these bad feelings in my backbone. So I went, and it was discovered that they had to take a biopsy because my prostate gland had enlarged, extremely big, large. So they took a biopsy, which was a miserable experience. Oh, it was horrible. But anyway, I got a phone call about a week later from the doctor. He said, "Are you sitting down?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well," he said, "we found cancer." And he said, "It doesn't look good." So he said, "Would you and Wilma come?" This was on a Tuesday, I believe. He said, "Would you come on Friday to my office and plan on spending 4 hours?" Because he said, "We're going to go over the options, and there aren't any." He said, "You're so far gone, we don't have only 2 options, surgery and death." So we went, and we talked about everything there was. And so then the following Wednesday, then I went in and had surgery. Well, it was a lot worse than what they thought. They thought that it may not be quite so bad, but after they got in, they decided that it had gone into my bladder, had gone into my ureter. The tumor is still there. They couldn't, this had been in 2002, they couldn't get the tumor out, and it's still in my ureter, so I suffer from that all the time. Always on the edge. And anyway, when I'm in I was in the hospital for 10 days, something like that. And then I had to go back to the office, and I was carrying a bag and all this junk. And the nurse said, you know how close you were to not making it?" And I said, "No." She says, "They gave you 6 months to live." I'm still here. God must have seen the light. Or I saw the light. Let me rephrase that. I saw the light. And in 2008, something came into my life and made me realize that there's more to life than personal things, inanimate objects. We had a flood again in 2008, if everybody remembers. Bad one. Half Anamosa was underwater. The south end. Well, I went down and I helped sandbag my good friends who had just bought Tapkin's gas station by the Riverside Cemetery. Had just bought it a year before. Took their life savings to buy that, and it went underwater by 4 foot deep. We couldn't save it. So what are we gonna do? The next day, no, after the water receded, a couple days later, I got a phone call at 10 o'clock in the morning, and it was a friend of mine. He says, "Barry," he says, "what are you doing today?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to work." He says, "No, you're not." He said, "You're going to come down here to Tackness and help me tear this place apart." I said, "Okay." He says, "Bring a saw." He says, "Bring 2 saws." So I went. I had a lot of vacation. I'm embarrassed to tell you how much vacation I had. But anyway, so I called in to work, and I made arrangements for 4 weeks vacation in one shot. And that didn't take care of all of it. I still have more vacation left. But anyway, so I spent 4 weeks. Burge and I and 2 other good fellows, we put that gas station back together again. With some help. We had some help of people carrying out the trash and this kind of stuff. But you know, that's where I think that the Lord was really working on me, because I enjoyed doing it. I have been doing other carpenter work on a part-time basis, and it felt good to go in there and help. And the people that owned it are Southern Baptist, strong Southern Baptist.